Мнение самой мудрой книги человечества – Библии. О самых сложных проблемах, стоящих перед современным миром. Присылайте ваши вопросы заранее на наш email info@rusa.fm или во время передачи по СМС 347 460 08 77.
Добрый день всем, кто сейчас настроен на радио РУСА. В эфире передача Thank God It's Tuesday. Сегодня вторник, и слава Богу, что сегодня вторник, потому что в этот час мы проводим время с самым великолепным, самым мудрым, самым просто потрясающим раввином нашего времени, раввином Манисом Фридманом. И вопрос, который я хочу сегодня задать ему, я надеюсь, от имени всех нас, это почему темнее всего перед рассветом, потому что вот так выглядит сейчас наша жизнь немножко. Как-то все очень быстро идет по накату, и все кажется немножечко так грустно. Вот. И почему вот всегда так вот по жизни происходит, что темнее всего перед рассветом, и в природе тоже. Так что сейчас же перехожу к нашему главному ведущему радио РУСА, раввину Манису Фридману. Rabbi Friedman, hello, thank God it's Tuesday. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, I'm in someplace in the middle of nowhere in Georgia.
Georgia is
about
good.
An hour from Atlanta.
Okay, that's a good place to be.
I'm here with a group of college student women. Base Chana program. We're just learning day and night, and it's heavenly.
Is there an age restriction? I'm flying out tonight if there's not.
You have to be in college.
I see. All right, I missed that mark a little bit, but we're learning
No,
here.
you know why? Because college students are so intolerant. They won't tolerate anybody else.
Well, thank God it's Tuesday and we're learning here and now and getting your incredible wisdom into what is happening on...
So I'm sorry for the poor picture, but
it's okay.
this is not the regular computer.
That's okay.
The studio.
Nothing can ever ruin the picture when we're looking at you, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you so much. Rabbi Friedman, even in nature, not just in life, it's the darkest before it gets light. Why does it have to be so? Because our history, the Torah, everything that we learn before things get better, they pretty much need to hit rock bottom. Can you shed some wisdom on why it is necessary? Why is the world structured this way? I mean, I understand we're trying to second guess God, Hashem, but maybe it'll help if we know the answer to this question.
We don't know the answer, and that's why we pray. If we knew, then we wouldn't bother praying. We would like the way it is. We don't like the way it is, and our question to God is, does it have to be this way? The only way to make a perfect world is to first have darkness and then light? So even if I understand that from the darkness we will get light, okay, but does it have to be this way? So that question will not be answered until Mashiach comes. The question in the meantime is, how do we get the benefits that darkness brings? Why the benefit has to come through darkness, don't know. But what is the benefit, and how do I get it? So some people have a very negative, I think it's a negative perspective. You got to chase away the darkness, and then you'll have the light. So the darkness is pure darkness. It's not useful. And you just got to get rid of it. That's kind of negative. The more optimistic and the more positive view is, in the darkness there's a treasure. So it's not just chase away the darkness. Take the treasure out of the darkness and then who cares? Let it be dark. As long as the darkness is not hiding the treasure I'm looking for, I don't care if it's dark. In other words, what is wrong with darkness? What is Leonard Cohen's last song? You want it darker? We'll turn off the light. No, you're not familiar?
No, unfortunately, but I'll definitely look it up after the program.
It's a very morbid song, I think. Anyway, he worked 2 years on it. So what exactly is wrong with darkness? If the darkness isn't concealing anything worthwhile, then who cares? Let it be dark. If there's nothing to see, then I don't need light. The reason I object to darkness is because there's so much value, there's so much goodness that the darkness is hiding. And that's not acceptable. Can't do that. You can't deny me the goodness by hiding it from me. So that's why I object to the darkness. But then, if I discover what the darkness is hiding, then the darkness is irrelevant, meaningless. So we have to extract the goodness that is concealed by the darkness. The question is, why is the goodness, some goodness is not hiding at all. You're born, you're healthy, you enjoy a good meal. What's wrong? There's nothing hiding. But the real goodness, meaning not just the fact of life, but the purpose of life, which is even better than life itself. Right? It's what justifies life. That is not so obvious. And that sometimes it's very hidden. A person in a concentration camp, there is a purpose to life, but whoa, it's not anywhere visible, and there isn't even a light at the end of the tunnel. So even then, life is meaningful and necessary and rich, but the darkness makes it impossible to see it. So if we can find the meaning, then we can handle darkness. And that's basically Viktor Frankl's whole school of psychology. If I can find meaning, then the darkness doesn't bother me. So it's a much more optimistic, a much more positive view of darkness. It's not just it's an evil you have to chase away. The darkness is simply like I'm trying to figure out the theory of relativity, and I don't understand it, which means I'm in the dark. When I finally do figure it out, now I am in the light. Now I am enlightened. So why was I in the dark? It was a little too heavy, a little too advanced in the theory for my level of knowledge. So why are some good things, some treasures, concealed? Well, because it's on a much higher level than me. So I have to elevate myself to a higher level. There I will be able to see, and the darkness will not interfere.
Rabbi Fridman, then I need to ask. At this time, I think I would take concealing over everything that we're actually seeing. So, what does it mean when evil is revealing itself? Where are we at this point? So again, I understand that we're speaking a little bit metaphorically on one hand, when we talk about total darkness that conceals everything, but what about when things are becoming dark by becoming more revealed it's actually a very difficult concept even to explain. And of course, then the question would be, where are we spiritually when things are becoming revealed, when evil things are becoming revealed? What does it mean? Where are we at that point spiritually?
That is a very good question. That's go to the head of the class. What does it mean? Evil is revealing itself, and that's an improvement. Really? I'd rather the evil stay hidden. Go hide someplace in a cave. What happens is the evil reveals itself means that you think the darkness exists as a reality. There's light and there's dark. Dark is dark, light is light. When the evil reveals itself, it means that you actually can see that the darkness is not real. All it's doing is denying the goodness. In other words, the darkness, the evil reveals itself, and now you can see the goodness that it is denying. Like, why must you insist you're an atheist? Because the God you refuse to believe in is so good and so powerful and so real. So in a sense, the more they say there is no God, the more you make me think of God. So by saying there's no God, you're not doing anything but revealing God.
Awesome.
So what do you think you're accomplishing by saying there's no God? So if I think, oh, you mean there's a possibility that there's no God and this is a deep, profound conversation we're having, then the darkness has got you. But if you're having the conversation and you realize they're just out to deny what is real, okay, the game is up. So whether you say I believe in God or you say I don't believe in God, either way, you're telling me that there's a God.
Rabbi Fridman, but still, we need to somehow cope with everything. I mean, if a couple of weeks ago I said things are accelerating and information is really coming undone, and it's getting more and more and more. I mean, if 3 weeks ago I could still follow everything that is going on, there's so much going on now that I don't want to spend enough time to follow everything that is going on, and it's coming from all different directions, and things are happening. And the difference is, what is different between now and 3 weeks ago is that there are actually things happening in our physical world that are countering the evil, the lies, the Well, things that should not be happening, basically. I don't want to get into it because it's so much of it, and it's really not a great topic because, we're here to get enlightenment, not to bring us back into the darkness. So, but there are things happening, and there are certain justices that are, physical, human, are worldly justices that are happening, or at least are about to start happening. So we see that little bit of improvement. Is that what we're looking for to happen, or actually do we want it to get spiritually even darker and for more things to come out in order for the truth, the real truth, which is, of course, Mashiach is what we're all waiting for to come? Or do we need to prepare the world better, and that would have to happen on the physical level?
It's a fascinating history of idolatry. You would think God says, I am God, have no other gods. Okay, so you try worshiping an idol. How long can that last? It's an idol. It does nothing. It has nothing to offer. How long are you going to be fooled by that? How is it possible that for all of history we have been worshiping idols? You would think, have one bad experience and it's over, right? You were disappointed by an idol and finished. See, it's not like that. The idol keeps shifting. There's the problem. You worship an idol and you realize it is helpless, it's worthless, it's meaningless, it's not reliable. So you shift to a better idol. And when that fails, you shift to a better idol. And you can keep doing this for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Like communism. Communism is such a failure. No. We just didn't do it right. If you have the right communism, so you just shifted. But you don't admit that. You don't admit, no, communism failed. Now you're going to try a different idol. It's going to fail too. Why do you think this one is going to work? So to convince ourselves, and not just theoretically, but on a visceral level, it's not that all the idols we have tried haven't worked, so try another one. No more trying. The whole idea of idols will not work. So don't give me a better one, new and improved, advanced, sophisticated. Don't do that. That's what we're seeing today. We've come to the very advanced, sophisticated, really impressive idol. This one is going to work. No, it won't. When do we give up on developing or discovering a better idol? Just stop with the idols. There's only one God. What will it take to convince you? Meaning, there's only one truth and one thing you can depend on. Everything else is not true and you can't depend on it. So we're doing quite well in the thou shalt not have idols. We're making great progress there, because one idol after another, really, it's for people who were depending and worshiping and believing in science, in medicine, in hospitals, in colleges, in the FBI, in the police, the disillusionment is devastating. What's left? hopefully, we're not going to get more sophisticated in our idolatry. We're finally going to just give it up already. So if we just have new elections, if we just, elect this one, that one, more women, more minorities, more, stop already. Stop trying to put makeup on your idol. It's not going to help. The next step would be, okay, now that I know that there's no other God, now tell me about the real God. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve because we're not waiting for that. We're talking about the real God.
Rabbi
It
Fridman,
doesn't have to come as a result of total disillusionment. When everything else fails, then we'll talk about God. No, we'll talk about God now because we know everything else is going to fail.
the question is how to get everybody else to realize that as well and as quickly as possible. Rabbi Fridman, but this is the whole thing. Even those who already realize it, who understand it, they still have a question. How is it going to happen? How if the world has to be good before Mashiach comes, before God reveals himself, because this is obviously not a dwelling place for God at this moment. So what has to happen? Who's going to help? Who's going to do what? Is it going to be the police, the FBI, the military, the people? How is this going to come about? That's the big question.
I think anybody who is thoughtful has to come to the conclusion the Democratic Party is completely corrupt. The Republican Party is just as corrupt. Well, if they're both corrupt, what's missing? See, as long as I'm thinking, well, if one party is corrupt, let's have the other party. And when that party gets corrupt, we'll find a third party. We'll keep looking till we find the party that is right. Now we realize no party is right. Then what is? In other words, both parties are wrong, everything is wrong, everybody is failing. What's missing? So again, until recently, if things are failing, it's because we don't have enough money. Money is the solution. Now we realize no amount of money is a solution. So we say, well, science. We need more science. That'll solve all our problems. Now we realize, no, science has its own problems. All right, so you go from one to the other until you realize there is one thing missing in all of them. What is that? So if the Democratic Party is bad and the Republican Party is bad, so one is not an answer for the other, then what is it that they're both missing? As long as I can exchange one for the other, like I was saying before, as long as I can find an improved idol, I'll keep moving from idol to idol to idol. When I realize all the idols are wrong, well then what is it that is wrong about them? Yeah? So if all idols are counterfeit, then which one, what is real? So if I can recognize counterfeit dollars, I must know something about a real dollar. Otherwise, how do I know this is counterfeit? So what exactly is missing? What is the failure of the Democratic Party? It has power, it's brilliant, it's organized, it's functional, it's ambitious. One thing missing: morality. Look at the other party. It's organized, it's functional, it's powerful, it's rich. What's missing? Morality. Everywhere you look, the failure is the same. What's wrong with the FBI? No morality. What's wrong with the police? No morality. What's wrong with the social fabric? No morality. So once you identify the missing ingredient, well, you're so much closer to the truth. It takes away the confusion, the cobwebs in your brain, because this is wrong, and that's wrong, and this party is bad, and that party is bad. How many things can go wrong? How many things are bad? And it turns out, just one. Just one. The Democratic Party can be perfect. Just add morality. The Republican Party can be perfect. Add morality. The FBI, the hospitals, medicine, science, all you have to do, add morality, and they're all wonderful. So it's very clarifying. It simplifies, because the truth is always simple. When you're missing that one ingredient, nothing is right. When you add that ingredient, everything is right. There's nothing wrong with communism if you added morality, because then you would have to call it something else.
Rabbi Fridman, but in order for an ingredient to be added, a chef needs to put that ingredient in. How does morality get ingested into our life as we know it? How will it ever happen?
Well, this is I think the inescapable conclusion. We have serious problems in this country because of the Democratic Party. Put the Republican Party in charge, everything will be better. No, it won't. So instead of swapping parties, work at making whatever is there better. It's so obvious and so simple. Stop running from idol to idol. Depose this government. Get this guy. Impeach the... Stop it already. It's not going to improve anything if you go from one idol to another idol. Every idol will disappoint you. It's so clear now. So what should we pray for? What should we hope for? What should we campaign for? What should we march in the streets for? New elections? What in the world is that going to do? Who should be impeached? Who should go to jail? How is that going to help? The whole country should go to jail.
Rabbi Fridman, but
including the jailer.
Yes, but that's the whole point. But no one is giving up that idea just yet, and the Republican Party is doing very well. And I don't know, should we say thank God at this point, or that's going to kind of annul the conversation we just had?
Well, what? The Republican Party is doing well?
Well, yeah, people are voting Republican.
But they haven't got a decent candidate.
Anyway, the candidates that are Republican across the nations are winning, I guess, thank God, because even though, like I said, it kind of annuls, if we're grateful for that, that annuls the conversation we're having, because the Republican Party, I agree 100%, is not where it should be or where it claims to be. But regardless, so people are still fighting for that.
A better idol.
Yes. So how do you change the people's mind and have them stop going towards better idols and make them go towards the truth?
Yeah, so what you're saying is, does the Republican Party have to show its ugliness and its inability and its weaknesses more than it is, so that we'll stop hoping that they're the solution?
Exactly.
I hope not. You know, when President Reagan was going to Russia, I don't remember which trip it was, but when the communications were just beginning, and he was going to Russia, the Rebbe advised him, don't criticize communism. Just talk human rights. Who says you can't have human rights in a communist system? That's how you should talk. Don't say communism is bad, because he's going to tell you how bad democracy is. And they're both bad for the same reason. Not enough morality. So let's just cut to the chase. Stop running in circles. Whoever is in charge needs to be more moral. That's it. That's the name of the game. So if the citizens or the citizenry demanded morality, we would probably get it. If all you're demanding is new elections, well, that's what you're going to get. So let's not pray for the wrong thing. Let's not march for the wrong thing and campaign for the wrong thing and spend our energies on the wrong thing. We've had enough experience to know it's not political party and it's not political theory. It's morality. So a woman president is going to be a better president?
If she's more moral. Yes.
How about a Jewish president? Will that solve all our problems? I don't think so.
No.
So why are we chasing these things?
Rabbi Fridman, I think in general the world agrees with this statement that it seems like people are ready for morality, but now the question is, how do we go about it? Are people actually ready to start saying, no, we don't want the Republican Party to win, we want morality to win, or we don't want, something else. We don't want science, we want morality. So, but I don't think the world is ready to move in this direction. Maybe thinking somewhat in this direction, but actually getting up and doing it. You think the world is ready?
I think you're right. The leadership in the world is not ready. So the solution is not going to come from leaders. It can only come from the grassroots silent majority who really are concerned with morality. But we have to make it known. If you vote for a party, whichever party it is, tell them, make it very clear, I'm only voting for you because you have a moral commitment in this area or that area. I find something about you that is moral, and that's the only reason I'm voting for you. I don't think you're smarter. I don't think you're stronger. I just like morality. So if you don't live up to that morality, you've got nothing going for you.
See, Rabbi Fridman, we're also living in times of big lies. People promise, don't deliver, and it's extremely hard to trust anything and anybody on any level. high levels or in just everyday life? I don't know how we got to this kind of state of being, but lying is a huge problem these days. And how do we choose the right people to lead, or trust the right people to lead, rather, in this day and age?
Just one little example. You want to elect the party that will be best for the economy. Don't do that. You can have a party that is really good for the economy, but totally immoral. So you're going to let them get away with their immorality because you're very happy with the economy. That's not moral. You're selling out morally. So who's going to make the country safer? Who's going to make the country richer? Who's going to make the country more powerful? Don't go there. That's the red herring. So yeah, we want a government that is going to be moral. Turns out the government is not moral. Oh, but it's good for the economy. Don't let them off the hook like that. Don't sell out morality in favor of economy. That's where we get confused. We always vote for the more moral party, and if they don't turn out to be moral, we say, yeah, but at least they're good for foreign relations. If the foreign relations are not moral, don't let them get away with it. If the economy is doing well, but not in a moral fashion, don't let them get away with it. Stick to the moral issues. It's not undoable. I mean, actually, everybody wants it, everybody agrees with it, we just let ourselves get distracted. So people say, I don't care who gets elected as long as the price of gas comes down. Okay, but no. That's immoral.
See, Rabbi Fridman, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Are we on the level where we're not willing to compromise anymore and say that it's morality is what we want, not economy, like you're saying, or something else, comfortable living, easy?
So you listen to the conversation, the national conversation. Everyone is screaming, where's morality? Everyone. But then somebody says, the price of gas just went down. Oh, good. So that's where, why, you know what the problem is. Why do you let yourself get distracted? How is the lowering of the price of gas going to make the country more moral? So don't give up so easily. You're demanding morality but settling for something else? Why? And it's not like having the morality is unrealistic. I think a lot of people would say that. Oh, sure, we'd love to have moral, but that ain't going to happen. So at least give me a better price for the gas. It's not unrealistic. In fact, it's inevitable. There's no question 10 years from now, we're going to have a more moral country, or we're not going to have a country at all. So not only is it possible, it's inevitable. So why wait 10 years? If it can happen in 10 years, it can happen in 1 year. Why? Why wait?
Rabbi Fridman, I hope people are getting this message that you're sending out today, because you've been sending it out for as long as we've been talking, and probably way before. So, and I personally, and on behalf of everybody who's listening, thank you for that message, because it's probably the most important message of our times. Rabbi Fridman, unfortunately, our time of the week is coming a little bit to an end. So if you can leave us with some words of wisdom that we count on every single week from you, we would really appreciate it.
If you read this week's Torah portion, it sounds so horrific. In fact, there's a part of this week's portion where you don't call someone up to the Torah to read that part. The reader just goes ahead and reads it. You don't honor anyone with this portion because it's so horrific. If you don't do what I tell you to do, I mean, and the horrors of it. It would be X-rated for the violence and for the. But the first verse, the beginning of that really painful, horrific description of what's going to happen if we don't behave ourselves. The first verse says, if you defy me and not follow my commandments, this is going to happen. That is a huge condition. If you defy me, that means if you know me and you understand me and spite me, then all of this is going to happen. If you don't know me, well, then it's not your fault. That is such a huge, what is it called? Amendment to the...
to the Constitution.
Yeah. It's like, oh, all this bad is going to happen? No. Didn't you read the first verse? The first verse says, if you're sinning out of ignorance, if you're sinning and don't even realize it, if you think you know God, but you don't really know him, so you're not keeping all of his commandments, that's a different story. God can't be angry at you for unintentional violations. On the contrary, if you don't really know me, how come you're doing any mitzvahs? If you don't really know me, how come you're even lighting Shabbos candles? Or observing Yom Kippur? That's amazing. You don't know me, you don't understand me, you haven't studied, nobody inspired you, and you show up for Yom Kippur? You're fantastic. So let's not get confused or misled by what sounds like a terrible future, although we've already had our terrible future. But that is so important in understanding the nature of Judaism and the nature of Torah. If you don't keep the commandments, this is going to happen? No, it doesn't say that. It says, if you know me and don't keep the commandments to spite me, okay, that's not good. But don't go condemn everybody who ever sinned.
Rabbi Fridman, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the inspiration, for the insights, for the light, for the positivity, for the hope that you give all of us on weekly basis and everyone who is seeking on daily basis, even a few times a day through all the media that you're on and all the classes that you teach. So thank you so much. And I so look forward to speaking with you again, and hopefully we always have something positive to speak about each week. Thank you.
Next week, everyone should be saying it, not just me.
Аминь. Аминь. Thank you very much. А всем, кто нас слушал, спасибо вам огромное. Рэба Фридмана можно найти на YouTube-канале Rabbi Manis Friedman. It's good to know.org есть такой сайт. Там очень много информации, он написал много книг. Учитесь, получайте удовольствие, заряжайтесь светом и всего хорошего. До следующей недели.
Каждый вторник в 12:10 один из самых известных раввинов нашего времени, Манис Фридман, в прямом эфире